we're getting some basketball in, Jay. I know you don't like sports, but I'm pretty fucking excited, man. They have a bubble in Orlando at Disney World, and they created this bubble. NBA bubble is what they're calling it.
Is it a real bubble, like Biodome?
That would be so fucking
first I saw that, I was like,
wicked.
they built a bubble.
Dude, that would be so fucking awesome. But no, it's not a physical bubble, but it's just a campus on the site, and it's open to the public too, which is kind of interesting. But the NBA players have to stay in this bubble, and they can't leave. And so one of the players, Rashawn Holmes, ordered food from a delivery service, and he went to the edge of the bubble to get the food, and they considered that a violation, and so he had a quarantine for I think 8 to 10 days or something like that. Which is fucked up because he's probably one of the best players on the team. And so if he doesn't start when they start playing on the 30th and he's not playing, it's going to be a huge fucking hit, But there's also other bubbles that they've been creating. I'm not sure if you've been listening to a lot of this shit soccer's another one. They're already starting to play. We have Sacramento Republic that just played. And, there's certain rules where they can only go certain places and be certain,
Do they let fans in?
I don't know. But I know there's fans there, and I know they're taking temperatures and doing all that shit, when they do that. Fucking crazy.
I was just thinking of a funny TikTok. Sorry, I've been addicted to TikTok. But this girl was like, at work, they started taking our temperature, and if it's too high, we got to go home. So she went out to her car. It was like a sunny day. And she put her forehead on the fucking. She's like, it's 100 degrees outside. I'm getting out of work.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking funny. I can see myself doing that for sure.
Dude, totally.
But it's cool. It's not that I hate sports. I just don't understand sports. I used to be deep into football and basketball.
Yeah, right.
Huge basketball fan when I was a young kid. I like sports. I actually want to get. If sports are on right now, I'm watching it because I'm so bored. But
Right.
The reason I think I like fighting over sports is because I don't get how people get excited about I don't think do the Niners and Raiders even play. I don't want to see how far detached they don't
Sometimes.
usually play unless they get certain
usually in
distance.
the preseason.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So or was it Raiders Broncos was a big game, right? I know that was when I used to always talk shit to my Denver friends, but it's we get so aggressive and so into this game, double-sided like everything else, and we're so, this game's so important. Right. I'm just always like, they're going to play next year, dude.
Yeah,
the year after. And I get it, people get into the year, but when there's two fighters, they may never fight again. And that, I don't know why, that always just spoke to me that this is an opportunity that could easily slip out of your grasp.
Yeah, especially a title fight.
Yeah, you may never get this back.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Shit, you break your leg and your career's, you could have been the best champ. This guy named, TJ... fucking, what was his name? I'm thinking Miller, but that's a comedian. Anyways, a guy who was going to be one of the best champs ever, and they just chose to give it to the more popular fighter. Then he was way on the sidelines, and he got a huge injury. Then he had some problems mentally, and then it was just gone. He probably could have been the best in the world, but no one even knows his name.
Damn. Yeah, that's good take, man. And you know what? To be honest, I'm kind of over football. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know what? Over the last couple years,
a lot of whistles.
Too many whistles. Can't even play the fucking game anymore, and I get it. I get the whole head trauma thing and all that stuff, and it makes sense. But football's football, man. It's rugby, same thing. But just the whole I don't know, man. We talk about you don't believe your country would do this and conspiracies that and conspiracy that. Dude, I honestly believe sports are rigged. They very easily can be. But with football in general, even going to a game, you go to a stand, it's super fucking expensive. You have to pay $100 at least, and parking, and then beers and all. It's just expensive. And you get onto the field, and the players are fucking 200 yards away from you. You can't even. They look like little ants way down there. Much rather watch it on TV. That's one thing. Whereas in basketball, you go to a game, it doesn't matter if you're in the nosebleed section. They're fucking right there. If you yell something at them, they're going to hear you, And it's cheaper tickets. I'd buy tickets for $12, $15 when I go to the Kings games. So there's that. But, just the NFL in general, we even talked about the whole Bubba Wallace thing and how NASCAR approached that. And NFL is just horrible about shit like that, And so all this tied together is just and then Raiders, I'm a Raider fan. They're moving to Las Vegas, which I don't have a problem with, but it just ties into that whole I'm kind of over it. I'll watch a game here and there, but whatever. I'm done.
Yeah, and that's part of what, because I played football. I fucking want to play football tomorrow. It was a fucking great barbaric sport. But I noticed I was watching a lot of guys standing around instead of playing football.
Right.
A lot of whistles, and it just, I don't know. And I remember kind of going off your conspiracy theory. It's in, what was it, September 2001, when the attack happened, I remember my Isaac Rodriguez, I think it was, said, Patriots are going to win this year because they're the America's team.
Yeah,
and they ended up winning, but they're also badass. I don't know, but who knows?
interesting.
But that's one thing I like about fighting, like with basketball, college basketball, I think especially there's been over the years, 80s, 90s, of people getting paid off or bookies. And with fighting, there's humans, so there's corruption, but it's hard to do in fighting because it happens and probably still happens, but you could tell. I mean, there's a guy, Bob Sapp, that's been notorious for it. Don't want to talk too much shit because he's a big motherfucker. But Bob Sapp, come on the podcast. I'll just have a gun in my lap, and I'm going to need to get a bigger gun. He's a fucking massive dude.
Give me one too.
But he was making money and just, and we get a jab in the face and fold on the ground. And, and there's fights you could review where you're like, that wasn't a submission. And like those people get called out and it ruins them. Okay. Where I think it's easier in basketball, I don't know.
Team sport,
to like or throw an interception. I think it's harder to be clear cut where you see a jab miss and the guy falls. You're like, what the fuck? So I don't know, but corruption, man, it ruins good things.
It does, man. It does. And you know what? It's unfortunate too because
it's the dumbest statement I ever said. Corruption ruins good things. So vague. Anyways.
Well, my son, he got into football. Not completely into football, but it was one of those things where, and of course, after college, you hear a lot about, well, sports are just a way to distract you from the real issues in the world, and I do believe that. But my son liked football. I liked football. We'd sit down on a Sunday, have some pizza or whatever, and it was bonding, man. I mean, some of the best bonding I've ever done with my kid is watching a sport and high-fiving each other, and you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So that was my rationale, right?
It's like a Hallmark commercial, bro. High-fiving.
Right.
No hugs, no eye contact.
No, social distance. It was like that. But now that he likes basketball, my wife likes the Kings. My daughter loves the Kings. She has her favorite players, and so it's different, I think, with basketball. And I'm sure it's corrupt, too, because the last fucking finals, I think it's like the last 3 or 4 years when they go to the final, for the finals, it's the 7 games. It's gone to 7 games every single fucking time.
Because of money, right?
Because of money, right. And so it's
extra airtime and sponsors.
Exactly. Ticket sales, beer sales, all that shit.
Yep.
And so you think like, okay, well, we'll rig it up until game 6, and then game 7, just let them do their thing, Which is like, you motherfucker. I don't know. Maybe that's not true, but
what's the history of them having? I never got this about certain sports either. Why, like, there's one Super Bowl. Why is there multiple games in basketball for the championship?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That leaves a lot of room for that to happen, I would assume.
Yeah, it is. And they actually play each team several times. And baseball, too. They fucking play
a bunch of games. I was just thinking, so baseball, the World Series is multiple games, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
How many, like, a lot of games, right? Yeah.
I never put too much
thought into that. Why would you do that? Like, that's one thing I always was like, what the fuck? Why would they have just one game, bro?
Right.
That's your chance.
Because, and I almost want to say, like, well, it's because maybe they'll have an injured player, or maybe, they'll have a slouch. But it can happen in football, too.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you put a fighter against another fighter and say over the next 3 years you're going to have 5 fights or whatever, you will definitely know who the better fighter is at the end of those 5 fights. So maybe that's an argument for it.
Right.
No flukes or knockout or whatever. Right. So, or just a bad day or whatever. But it does seem more that team sport, not everyone's going to have a bad day, I think.
Yeah, and that's why you have bench players,
But
interesting.
Yeah, and I always wondered why they did that.
So what do you think? Rematch Diaz and McGregor?
It looks like McGregor's going after Masvidal.
I've seen that.
Who just lost to Usman. Oh, you were over watching it,
right.
And he wasn't prepared for that fight, but whatever, he survived. But McGregor, I think they're trying to set up McGregor versus him because Masvidal still has the bad motherfucker belt that he won from Nate Diaz,
right,
due to a cut. But it was also putting it on him. I gotta admit, big Nate Diaz fan, but Masvidal's no joke. And Masvidal came out with a statement and said, he said, I want that real belt.
Right.
I don't care how much money Conor McGregor is going to get me. I want the actual belt, the real belt of this. I want to, he probably wants a full training camp to fight Usman again or whoever's the champ. And McGregor will change your life money wise. That's just how big of a superstar he is.
Right.
But he said, I don't care. I'm stubborn and I want that real belt. That's what means is important to me. So you gotta respect that.
Oh, absolutely. He's a fighter, man. He's got that heart.
Oh, they're all fighters, Nick.
Well, yeah, right. But someone like McGregor and even what's the boxer's name that fought McGregor?
Boxer? Oh, Mayweather.
Mayweather, yeah. I mean, fuck, they're all about that money, man.
Yeah, and that's why Mayweather, but they're
badasses.
Mayweather and McGregor, that's the thing. There's some voices out there, but they get exposed quick if they don't walk the walk. And McGregor and Mayweather have proven to walk the walk.
Oh, absolutely.
And because trust me, I was a McGregor hater, and now I'm fucking love that dude. Watching the fight, it's just amazing to see what he's able to do. It's like watching. I was watching Bruce Lee competitions that are you could watch some of his actual competitions, not movies.
Okay.
Pretty grainy material, but man, me and Gina were watching it, and he's just fucking so smooth and quick. And by the time his counter is faster than the original guy's punch. Wow. So you know a counter, right?
Yeah, right.
Like you throw a jab, and then I counter that and throw a cross. His, whether it's a leg or hand or whatever, is faster than your original punch from the video we're watching. And I say, man, McGregor's got this kind of style. I think McGregor's got, because he's kind of that guy where you're like, oh, he's got this weird stance, and it's almost like a karate stance. And man, yeah, McGregor, I became a huge McGregor fan because he ruined my boy Aldo's, he messed with my boy Aldo, and I almost cried. I literally, it was the only time I almost cried for a fight. I didn't cry, but I was so heartbroken. But yeah, man, fuck, dude, they back it up. So that's why you like these people. Masvidal's the same,
Yeah, right. And Diaz too.
Diaz, but guess what? So there is rumblings of McGregor and Diaz because they need that third fight.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading about.
Yeah. So you saw that little Twitter exchange?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nate Diaz hasn't really responded. He kind of made a statement, and McGregor said, "Shut the fuck up, bitch," or something, because he's trying to get that fight.
Right.
And that's how do you get a fight with a Diaz? You become a bitch. But it didn't work. So I was like, Nate, don't play into this.
Yeah, totally. Right.
Yeah.
I would love to see that though, because to be honest, I watched both fights. And I kind of thought the second one was really close. Could have been called either way, and I think people would have been agreeable on either of those decisions. But now that it was 1-1, hey.
Well, and if we're playing it like we just kind of said, why do sports have multiple things?
Right.
If I had to watch the first fight and second fight and score that, Nate Diaz is pretty high because Nate Diaz did a 1-2, basically was going to knock out McGregor in the first fight. Right. And then McGregor went for a takedown, which is crazy because that's not his game. He obviously was fucked up.
Right.
And then he got an easy submission. He pitter-pattered him a little bit on the ground, and Nate got that sub. And then in the later fight, it was a decision towards McGregor of a very close fight.
Right.
I didn't ever get on the scorecard and really dive deep into it, but I've watched it multiple times. I believe it's out free now. You can watch the full fight. Still a fucking amazing fight. I thought Nate Diaz did enough in the early rounds and stuff to win it. In my personal opinion, he did get knocked down a lot, it's hard to argue that. But he, so if I added up those two fights, I think Nate Diaz is on top.
Right.
And
I would agree.
Yeah. So McGregor's notorious for wrecking people and then not coming back and rematching them, except when he loses. Which is bullshit. Right. But he has that power because so many people want to watch him.
Yeah, yeah. And what is UFC still popular? I mean, I don't follow it enough to know, but is it?
Oh, UFC is the only fucking sports organization doing it. Right? Well, it sounds like a lot are opening up, but they've been doing it. Island Fights just making moves to get this entertainment out. Yeah, and they've been doing it great. I think I've been missing events. They put on a couple. UFC is, I don't know, you saying with COVID, has it dropped?
No, well, just in general. Yeah, in general.
Oh, it's huge. It's fucking huge.
Okay.
It's bigger than it's ever been. They got, they've always had a lot of Brazilian fighters in some certain countries, but now almost every country. You got fucking this I forget her name, Chinese chick, fucking badass dude, fucking great fighter. Russians are invading. You got even Dagestan, which is probably Russia but kind of different. But it's tons of Dagestan fighters out in California training. That's where. Wow, this is our first early morning thing. I usually blame it on the alcohol. Now I'm blaming it on being tired. But the champ, what's his name? His dad just died. Talked about COVID death.
The bear wrestler.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I'm blanking here.
Yeah, I'm blanking too. God damn it.
I'm trying to think of his first name. It's throwing me off because his first name's hard. But anyways, Jesus, I can't think of his name. I can't not say this dude's name.
Oh,
Garnegov. It's
Oh, Jesus.
Khabib.
Oh, Khabib, yeah.
Jesus, I'm thinking of his last name that I can never pronounce. Khabib Nurmagomedov or something.
Okay.
Nurmagomedov. But Khabib, yeah, Khabib's from Dagestan. He's bringing all those guys. Those guys are just legit wrestlers. They're fucking badass. They're all San Jose, a lot of them out there training. But yeah, man,
so
it's the most. Dana White, when they took it over, it's one of the greatest business stories ever.
Interesting. And
it's cool to watch it. It was one thing, fuck. If I would have invested in the goddamn UFC and the fucking Joe Rogan Experience. I'd be those were two things I was in where I would be bring it up. And people like, shut the fuck. What the fuck are you talking? Fuck Joe Rogan. Like, guy on Fear Factor. Fuck UFC. Fucking cockfighting. They used to say that's like cockfighting.
Okay,
like, it's illegal.
Both fucking huge now.
Yeah, McCain came out against it. That's actually why I didn't vote for McCain. I was like, oh, fuck that. But now he's a fan, or well, he's dead, but he became a fan later in life and retracted some of his statements. But yeah, man, they said, I want this to be the biggest sport in 20 years. And Dana White's angle was that fighting is universal. American football is not universal. You play American football in some country, they're going to be like, what the fuck is this? Now,
well, they tried it, and it didn't work out so well. I mean, they go to Mexico City, and I think they've gone to London and played football games.
Yeah, and they have football teams in Mexico. I don't know if we watched one, but yeah, there was a team in Monterrey when I'd always go down there, and I was like, what the fuck? But I'm saying like every aspect of the world.
Right.
So like the closest thing to that is football, soccer.
Yeah, right.
Is the closest thing because most people are playing that in these like ghettos or fucking wherever you throw a ball down, people know what to do. They know the rules. They know this. Maybe not everywhere, but most places. That's probably the one that has the most spread.
I would think so. Yeah.
But fighting, Dana White's angle was any language you speak, as long as you have two Y's and you could watch that, you know what's going on because that's ingrained in our DNA. That's ingrained in us. We know fighting. No matter what, people know fighting.
100%.
And that's what he thought why it could be the biggest sport in the world. And I don't think it's the biggest sport now, but it's fucking huge. His was in 20 years, it's going to be the biggest sport in the world. They are like a little over 20 years now. One of the biggest sports in the world right now, but not at the level he thought it would be. But goddamn, you shoot for the stars, you'll get to the moon. And fucking huge, Nick. It's fucking huge.
I mean, it's just part of our human experience, I think, right? Gladiators and coming up, just something that we've always been exposed to was battles like this. Two women, two people have a confrontation. There's a little voice in the head like, ooh, this might get physical. Right. How do I stack up against this dude? You know, and it's like,
right,
interesting.
And I don't know if everyone has this voice. There's also a little voice in my head like, I probably could take this guy. I could probably take Bob's out. No.
Or yeah, I better just sit down on this one. The fight or flight, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't think I have that voice, but yeah, if I fucking saw like Bass Ruin walk in and like kick a bag, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna sit this one out. I don't want to break my femur. But yeah, it's something universal, and they're fucking huge, man. They went 40 million till they broke even.
Damn.
$40 million.
Yeah, you know what? Because again, going back to the football thing, they tried to go to other places, but it just didn't work out the way they thought it was. You know, the ticket sales were low and this kind of thing. And
why do you think that is? Because it's a great sport.
It is. Well,
it's foreign, I guess.
Yeah, I think it is. It's definitely an American thing. You know, it's definitely a thing that is established here, and now they're trying to spread it out. But
so is baseball, and baseball is huge in like Cuba. I mean, freaking Japan. Baseball is like popular in a lot of like interesting countries.
Baseball's been around the longest, right? Is baseball the longest running sport besides soccer?
Not fighting, bro.
Oh well, yeah, right, yeah.
Ooh, that's a great question.
Interesting.
I know it's a very American sport. That's
America's
America,
pastime, right?
Yeah. But I know like there's parts of Cuba you go to and you just argue baseball. There's no baseball being played. The guys get past and they go there and they argue.
Interesting.
It's awesome because there's a lot of they're usually talking about American teams because there's a lot of Cubans that go up there, Puerto Ricans and stuff like that. Yeah, and I know Japan's huge on it, baseball. I'm trying to think of is there a country I'm missing? I feel like there's another country that's super into baseball. But anyways, I don't know enough about baseball. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I would imagine soccer.
And you know what's funny is we're talking about sports and like I love sports, you know, and you love certain sports and I love certain sports and I don't like certain sports and you don't like certain sports. But here we are talking about sports because, God damn, we need something, Jay. We need something right now.
I said the first month, I said, fuck, there's a football. I wish there was a football game on right now. I still don't. But basketball, I like watching basketball too. I don't know about baseball. I get super bored. But I like going to games. But man, I would love to watch a football game right now. Maybe I say that and then I watch an hour and go, fuck this. But like, I am so sick of whatever's on YouTube and whatever.
Right.
Because I'm watching these podcasts and they talk about content, but there's not a lot of content out there.
Yeah, right.
So it's like they're kind of talking about COVID. And we even got shit for that, talking about COVID all the time. And it's like, what else are we going to talk about?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But shit, man, 30th NBA starting and in that bubble. So be something to watch, and it's interesting too because they are it's for the championship, right? They went through 3/4 of the season, and then you know they were going to end the season, but there's so much backlash about no, we need a champion, we need someone to win a championship, and so then they took a month to decide, okay, what the fuck are we going to do? And so whoever wins this is going to be the NBA champion, but there's not going to be any awards for this competition. So they have, Rookie of the Year and, MVP. And so the bubble playing is not going to have anything to do with that. They're going to base all those awards off of what happened in the regular season.
Huh. Yeah, because I remember you mentioned that they were like still have unfinished business last season, which is crazy. They're just going to split it. But that seems fair to me. Seems like it's weird because so much time has gone by. Players are changing teams and shit still.
Yeah.
So they could have a completely different team. But probably not.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a couple players that are on different teams.
Now so all the teams are under this bubble in Florida.
Well, not all of them. Only the ones that made a certain criteria as far as wins and losses.
How many teams?
16, I want to say.
And each team has how many people?
12, 14, something like that.
And then their coaching staff. I'm trying to think how big this bubble is, but
yeah, right.
It's weird that you told me they let general public in there. Isn't that a fucking?
Well, so not into the bubble, but into
the games.
No. The Disney World.
Oh, is that where it's at?
Yeah. It's at Disney World. Yeah. So it's some attractions are open, not all of them, but it is interesting.
Yeah, because you're kind of making a higher risk bringing those fuckers in.
Absolutely,
right? But it's Disney World; they gotta make money, I guess. But yeah, that's interesting. So there's how many teams you say?
I want to say 16, but I could be
wrong. So they have a whole bracket to go.
Oh, they have a whole bracket. Yeah.
Shit. So I thought maybe it's just 2 teams or something.
No, it's the introductory games. It's each team is going to play 8 games, and then out of those 8 games, they're going to create the bracket. So those 8 games. So there was 20 games left in the regular season. They broke that down to 8 games.
Yeah.
And so after those 8 games, then if however you win or lose, you're going to be out of the bracket or in the bracket, and then they're going to play the playoffs.
Interesting.
And so yeah, man. I mean, the Kings have I think 14 or 16 year playoff drought. And so Sacramento Kings fans are fucking dying for a playoff run, man. And if this is it, fuck it.
Are they looking good?
Oh, they're looking solid, man.
Oh, really?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
So this fucking COVID thing's almost like a curse for them.
Oh, dude, fuck yeah, it was, man. And actually, the last game they played was against the New Orleans Pelicans, and it was going to be a deciding game as to who would be closer to the 8th seed, because you have to make the 8th seed to be in the playoffs. The Grizzlies were on that 8th seed, but the Kings were fucking closing in on them, and then the Pelicans were closing in on the Kings. And so if the Kings beat the Pelicans in that game, that would set the Pelicans one below, and that would set the Kings one higher to make that playoff seed. So that was a huge fucking game, man, and they didn't play it. They actually, fans crowded into the stadium, everybody was ready, and then the Pelicans said, I'm not going to, because actually one of the players in the NBA, Gobert, tested positive just like 3 hours before that. And so the Pelicans organization said, fuck that, we ain't playing. And so essentially they forfeit it, but they didn't count it as a forfeit because of the whole situation. And so they just didn't play that game, and fans are pissed, because they had to stay in there in the arena until all the players left, and then they were able to leave, which fucking sucks. Yeah, that's terrible.
I'd be pissed too.
But yeah, it's last year the Kings came close to playoffs, and then everybody was saying, oh, next year they got it,
Yeah.
And so this year they were playing. They had some pretty fucking substantial injuries to some of their best players, but they still fucking competed at a high level, man. And the fact that they're so fucking close, I think they're still close, man. We'll see. I'm crossing my fingers.
When's the last time the Kings won? Was that with Bibby? Did they ever win?
Yeah. So so they haven't actually. I don't think they've ever won a championship.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they were very close in 2002, and this was Bibby. This was Vlade Divac.
Yeah.
This was Doug Christie.
Last time I watched it, because my dad was a huge Sacramento Kings fan. I don't know.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, he was huge. Always had the games on.
Okay. Chris Webber.
Yeah, I remember watching because every time it was his house, he had it on. That's the only time I watched it. But
Okay.
I remember he was a diehard. Yeah, interesting. Well, fucking COVID, fucking shit up, huh?
Yeah, well,
across the board.
We'll see. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. And we'll see what happens, man. July 30th, it's gonna be. Oh man, I'm gonna be glued to the fucking
excited?
TV. Fuck yeah, I'm so excited.
Get
man.
your big number one.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen that in my house, haven't you?